Hello lovers, welcome to my IGTV and YouTube channel. My name is Paul Galloro and I'm so excited that you're here. Today I want to deepen our conversation about Mercury retrograde. And if you missed the beginning of this conversation, check out my last video called What is Mercury Retrograde? And I'll explain everything to you about this astrological event. Today I'd like to speak specifically about the Mercury pre-retrograde period. Now, if you remember in the previous video, I talked about the orbit of Mercury. So what happens is Mercury's going in its orbit. This period of pre-retrograde is where Mercury is walking down this path for the first time. What happens in the retrograde, Mercury starts to go back and will retrace these steps. And then the post-retrograde period has us moving forward over the same path. So we'll be here again and again. It'll almost be like a deja vu with what's going on over this period. In this video, I share with you the 4 important things that you can do during a Mercury pre-retrograde period to go through it as smoothly as possible. Number 1, stillness. I'm like a broken record. You hear me talking about a meditative practice all the time. And this is very important, not just during Mercury retrograde, but for life in general. To live an intentional life, we need to be very mindful of how we show up and how we communicate and how we speak, the words that we use, the habits that we engage in, the way that we act. All of these things are very important, but we can't do the second step, which I'll talk about in a second, if we don't have the ability to come into stillness and just watch our breath and watch how we are in the moment. The second thing that is very important and that will help you get through Mercury retrograde as smoothly as possible is observation. And this is why stillness is so important, because if we don't come into stillness, we're not able to observe and go through life as the witness. Because it's the observation that is going to allow us to watch how we respond, to see how we get triggered and what our initial reaction is. And if you think of coming into stillness daily as a attitudinal workout, when you do the attitudinal workout, you strengthen that muscle. When you do that attitudinal practice, you strengthen that ability to observe yourself in any given moment. So when you're having a conversation with someone that is challenging, if you're having a conversation and somebody says something that triggers you, you can notice the response and in time make a decision from there rather than the reactive choices that we make that often get us the same results that they've always gotten. And if we're not experiencing the most joy in a certain area in our lives, it's because we're doing the same thing over and over again and we're feeling stuck. So the stillness and the observation will allow us to see what's happening and choose from that place of awareness rather than that place of habit. The next important thing, reflection. Stillness leads to being able to observe, and then it's that ability to observe where we take into reflection. That period that we take, whether it's at the end of the day, in the middle of the day, at the beginning of the day, doesn't matter when it is, but that period that we take to reflect on our choices and to reflect on how we show up in the world is vital. Because when we stop, when we slow down, when we reflect, when we're truly honest with ourselves, we're able to see how our choices are creating our lives, how our thoughts are creating our lives, how our beliefs are showing up in our relationships, and how our actions in those relationships are creating the experiences of our lives. So reflection is a time where we ask ourselves serious questions. Now, if you are new to reflection or journaling, I have on my website, and I'll put the link with this video, a free PDF that you can download with questions that you can ask yourself during the pre-retrograde and retrograde period, and also some daily reflection questions that you can ask yourself to seriously take inventory of your life. This is the beauty of Mercury retrograde, because we're able to come into a place where we can stop and reevaluate everything and make new choices that will help to elevate us and align ourselves with our higher self, so that when Mercury goes direct, we're taking a step forward with confidence and with the knowingness and intentionality of creating a life that makes us feel so joyful. And finally, the fourth thing that's important to do is prayer. Now, if I say prayer and immediately you think of those prayers where you're begging the universe or the divine intelligence of your understanding for forgiveness, for salvation, for help, if the prayer that comes to mind is a beg, you need to watch my video called What is Prayer? Because in there I tell you all about the importance of affirmative prayer. Some prayers that I love that are super easy, thank you. Thank you is such an easy prayer. What it does is it aligns you in a state of gratitude, which immediately raises your vibration and opens you up into a sense of joy. Another simple prayer, I'm willing to see this differently. Because that slight willingness invites the divine intelligence of your understanding, the universe, invites your higher self to step in and show you the way so that you can make the choice to be aligned with that. And then it allows you to make a strong, powerful, solid, grounded, higher self decision that then takes you a step forward. So those are the four main things that you can do. And just to recap, it's daily moments of stillness, observing everything, your thoughts, your actions, the way you show up, reflecting on all of those things about yourself in the situations, and finally, prayer. I hope this is helpful for you during this Mercury pre-retrograde period. Remember to check out my website, experience.paulgalloro.com, and look for the free PDF of reflection questions during the Mercury retrograde period, and especially during the pre-shadow period, because this will help you be ready for what's to come once Mercury goes retrograde. I love you very much. I will be back soon to continue this conversation. We'll look deeper into the Mercury retrograde period soon. But until then, know that I love you, and I'll see you soon.